Can I read what you sent to Tabby? Dale sent this to Tabby verbatim. How about this doozy from the otherwise fluffy, lovely Psalm 139? And it starts lovely, Psalm 139. If you want to open your Bible to it, it starts. Can I just, it's a long psalm, so I'm not going to read all of it, but we want to hit into verse 19. But before we get to verse 19, it's a beautiful psalm. Totally. It starts off beautifully. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me. You know when I sit down and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. I'll jump to 7. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go to the heavens, you are there. I'll jump to 12. Even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day. For darkness is as light to you. Now let me jump to 19. If only you, God, would slay the wicked.
Slay!
Get away from me, you who are bloodthirsty. They speak of you with evil intent. Your adversaries misuse your name. What is going on?
I hate them. I hate them.
I have nothing but hatred for them. I count them my enemies.
Not just hatred, though. Perfect hatred.
Imagine putting that psalm to music. Like the first part would have to have flutes and harps, you know?
Yeah.
And then there'd have to be some electric guitars and drums or something, you know? Like what a pivot.
What's going on with David there?
Well, David loves the Lord deeply and beautifully, and he's probably one of the most honest and human psalmists. Well, he's a worshiper. He brings his whole life to God. I am not like David. I tend to want to bring the nice bits of my life to God. You know, I want to be nice and respectable and Christian. You know, but David's deeper than that. And you know, he lives in a society where there's literally real enemies. I mean, that still happens in parts of the world today, but most of us don't wake up and go to church and go to work thinking about our enemies that are about to taking our lives. Someone that's killed someone. He's talking about bloodthirsty people right here. So he's just being honest and taking his rage about these awful, violent people. He's taking it to God, and it's not a crazy pivot for him because in the first bit of the psalm it talks about God's knowledge, God's presence, and God's action. So he's praising God for all those attributes of God. But God knows about evil. God is present even when evil's being done, and He's active even where there's evil. So it naturally leads to this reflection on evil people and bloodthirsty actions. And so He's bringing this to God. And I like to say that this is actually really healthy because He's not actually taunting His enemies or taking vengeance on them. He's taking His anger towards His enemies to God. And that can actually be a tool for de-escalation. We'd see less conflict and war in the world if people took their anger to God instead of took vengeance on people.
Oh, that last bit.
It's a good one.
You know, because often you take your vengeance
to the person.
And then you're the one.
And you're the enemy.
You're the enemy.
That's right.
Leave it to God to judge.
Round and round we go.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have a question.
Come on.
So some people, they will struggle to be like this with God, but other people might be like this with God all the time. And I want to know, do you
I want to
think,
hang out with those people.
if you're the sort of person that is regularly going to God saying, I wish you would slay the wicked.
Wow.
Do you think there's something wrong there?
Well,
like, it's good to be honest,
clearly.
but is it possible to kind of have too much, like be encouraging that too much?
I mean, this very psalm is an example of the balance, right? Like it starts with worship and praise and adoration, David's amazement at who God is. But even if we widen it to look at all 150 psalms, if you read all the psalms, you're going to get a lot of worship. You're going to get a lot of thanksgiving. You're going to get a lot of supplication. You're going to get a lot of shaking your fist at God. Why is this happening? And you're going to get some confession. And you're going to get all of it. And it's human. The Psalms teach us how to pray.
Well, yeah, because he ends with, search me, God, and know my heart. Boom. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me and lead me in the way everlasting.
This psalm has two great pivots. It pivots from the lovely stuff to the angry stuff, and it finally pivots to humility, humble confession. Yeah, I've been talking about these wicked people out there, but God, if you don't sort out the wickedness in me, it's just going to continue down through the ages. It's a beautiful psalm.
We often, you say that there are some people, Tabby's just alluded, there's some people who do it all the time. Like, I have conversations with God a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for where I'm at, and I try to acknowledge that. But I also get angry with God, right? And I say, well, what's going on, right? So there is a lot of people who actually try and navigate that and then always come back to where the humility is supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So a practical thing that you would leave with people, it's okay to be, but leave it with God.
Well, super practical, read the Psalms. That's a super practical takeaway, is just read the Psalms. Immerse yourselves in the Psalms, and you will be taught how to pray. I mean, I think Jesus soaked himself in the Psalms. So when he was on the cross, he knew to reach for Psalm 22, So if we soak ourselves in the Psalms, we will pray human and humanizing prayers.